Listen up, partners. This is Good, Bad, Ugly on World Improv Network.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alex.
I'm Tony.
I am Kevin.
And we're your astute win counselors to get you through the week with any daily grind issues you may be facing or any problems you want us to resolve for you whatsoever. Let's get to our first winner. Our first winner is named Jasmine from San Francisco, California, and she writes, Dear Win, any advice on how to best cram for my final exams coming up? Tony, you got that look like you're thinking about that. You got an answer for this one.
Well, maybe the solution is to actually like pay attention in class like the whole semester so that you're not in this situation where you just have to cram the day before.
So like proactive.
Yeah, it's like get ahead of the problem, you know?
There's more than one way to skin a cat on this issue.
Well, I know you got a lot of ways to do that.
You can't spend your whole semester paying attention in every single class. You got to miss some classes here and there. You got to doodle some time in class.
Right.
You're going to borrow, the cute girl's notes that takes really good notes in class.
Right.
Use her notes to study for it.
Right.
There's a ton of different options, but I mean, I think there's a lot of shortcuts that could be really taken advantage of.
So do you have like a regimen that she should follow in order to make this cramming more efficient for future reference or even right now?
Right now, I mean, I always borrowed notes from the smartest kids in class. I would just be like friendly with them. And then when I realized that the test was in a couple days and I hadn't done any notes or like paid attention, I would just get all the best notes.
So did you prep them like months in advance? Like, oh, I think this guy's the smartest, this girl's the smartest, and you started befriending them fake?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, now it sounds manipulative. It absolutely was.
I don't know why.
How do you case like who's the smartest person in the class?
Like,
what are you looking for?
And I don't know, are always there doing stuff. It's easy to tell the teacher's pets and stuff.
You could be like a CIA psychoanalyst. I mean, you'd be good at profiling people. Because if that works for you, and you've done that through college, I mean, and you're successful from it.
Yeah, I mean, it worked most of the time.
Hey.
I also paid attention to some classes.
Really?
if I enjoyed them.
So, Jasmine, Kevin is saying, right off the hop, find the smartest people in class, befriend them, begrudgingly or whatever, put on your fake smile, and by the time you need those notes or you need to actually learn and retain something for the exam, get them from them. Mm-hmm. Tony, you think that's a good way of doing it?
I mean, now that you mention it, except I'm like the guy that always sat in the front.
You're the one that he's going to suck up to.
I'm like, I would be getting notes from you, Tony.
No, actually, it's a good thing because that's how I made friends in college.
See, it works for everybody. It's a good situation.
I would not have made friends otherwise.
There's nothing immoral about it.
So ultimately, it turns out to be symbiotic.
Yeah, it's a whole system. You have to just choose one of your roles.
Classroom ethics 101. I think it's completely fine.
You know what I think, Jasmine? I kind of like both of these guys where they're going with this, but I would take it a little bit more extreme. Literally, take the notes you do have and the notes of the friend or the fake friend that you got and jam them into your ears. Stuff your brain full of them until you can't put any more paper in your ears and then sleep on them. And I guarantee you the next morning when you wake up, all that knowledge will be inside your head and you will get an A on your test, hands down. All right, well, our next winner is AJ from New Orleans, Louisiana, and he writes, Dear Win, any thoughts on legalized weed? On one hand, who cares? But on the other hand, it's bringing so much crime, hard drug addiction, and homelessness that I can't stand it. AJ's kind of fed up with it. What do you think there? Well, Steve, what do you think?
Coming from a state that has legal weed and has for some time, the homelessness is definitely an issue. But there's like a lot of homeless people here, but they're just, why not go to California or something? Like, I don't understand.
They might be heading there now that California, passed the legalized weed.
Yeah,
initiative.
like geese going south.
Right. For the winter where it's nice and warm.
The hard drug addiction, I just don't believe that that's true. I think people that are addicted to hard drugs are taking pills and going to they're getting those drugs from doctors, not from like sketchy 17-year-olds in the alley. Like that's not where that addiction comes from. I, for one, am for it because this state is filthy rich. We are filthy rich, AJ, if you want to come check it out.
Yeah, like since a portion of the proceeds go to like education, we've probably got like the smartest kids
without
in
a
the
doubt.
Country. Yeah.
Well, they're smartest kids until they get to high school.
Yeah.
And
right.
Try weed.
Try weed, and then they fall into the number 38 category where we are. It's Colorado's number 38 in the United States. Yeah, that's a good point. You know what? But Steve, if we have that much money, then forget about smoking weed. Why don't we just smoke $1 bills or something?
Oh, because
Do it like a rap video. Do it like Ice Cube or something. Just smoke our.
that's where the hard drugs would come in. All those bills are laced with cocaine.
And that's why the meth, the heroin, and the coke addiction has jumped 3 times in the last 3.5 years. I like it. That definitely explains it.
Take
Yeah.
the good with the bad, man.
Yeah, you know what? You take the good with the bad. At the end of the day, AJ, I don't know what goes on in Louisiana, or if you moved here to Colorado now and now you've seen it and you're kind of fed up with it. But at the end of the day, there's one thing you can do.
Get high.
You can get very, very high, like Towley from South Park, and lock yourself in a basement where the locks only go from the outside in, so you can't even get out. And if you can't get out of the basement, you'll never know what's going on in the world above you. And heck, maybe it's all bliss, maybe it's not, but it doesn't matter to you anymore. There's nothing for you to be concerned about. Tony, think that's a reasonable solution?
That sounds like a terrible idea. First of all, if you get locked inside your basement and it's like one way, make sure the person on the other side is someone you can trust.
Right? Has a little slot to give you food and water and
Yeah.
a bucket maybe.
Yeah.
Like a little bit better treatment than hostile.
A little bit. But yeah, I don't. Weed it's not bad. I mean, all the things you mentioned, all that bad stuff, that's around without weed. That's
Right.
yeah.
Clearly. The cops are wrong. The DAs. They
Like
don't
if
know.
anything, the people like in this state where weed is legal, they're more chill, even if they're in these like bad situations. You'd have like homelessness.
What you're saying is the guys that are like waving around the PVC pipes on the 16th Street Mall and attacking people, if they weren't on weed, they would be like Godzilla or
Yeah,
King Kong knocking
totally.
the buildings down.
Yeah, this is the better of like two evils for sure.
Plus, how many of those homeless people do you see that just have signs that say like "spare a nug"? It's like,
Yeah, and Chiba Hut's making money off of it, by going with the whole perception. All right, let's move to Leslie from Broomfield, Colorado. And Leslie writes, Dear Win, who's your favorite cartoon character or characters of all time? Favorite cartoon character or characters of all time. Kevin, what do you think?
This is a tough one for me. I really liked.
Give me a top 3.
I liked Avatar, the last Airbender one.
Right?
That was a really cool cartoon, and that
Okay.
kid was awesome. And I thought that would be cool to be that young child.
Okay.
As a 28-year-old man.
All right.
yeah.
But otherwise, I don't know, man. It's hard. What do you guys think?
Right to my mind, that leans to me is Eric Cartman from South Park. I love him because he's just so obnoxious and brutal.
But could you imagine meeting him in real life, like if he were a person? Because all those characters are based off of people.
Yeah, they are.
You would hate that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bad person.
Yeah. Well, they are
as a
based.
kid, I guess it's just mischievous.
Mm-hmm.
But as an adult, that you're a terrible person if you do the test.
Well, then, because that leads to my second and third, Bugs Bunny and Foghorn Leghorn.
You know who I liked? Who was the Jessica Rabbit?
Oh, Jessica Rabbit. Okay.
Wowza. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. So you're thinking
I
not
had-
taking
I had
a
strange-
crush
Yeah.
to the cartoon
I
world.
had strange feelings for that cartoon character when I was a kid.
Like what kind of feelings?
Like things that I wasn't ready to feel.
Okay.
When I was just a young child, and
Right.
it confused me a lot.
The birds and the bees.
Yeah, I
mostly.
don't want to get into it.
Right.
The birds and the bunnies.
The birds and the bunnies.
It made my body do things.
Wow. And so it's still affected you today, it sounds like.
I
Kev.
don't. This is the first time I've talked about it in.
So
over
you've
a
had it
decade.
penned up that long?
Yeah.
Kevin, go ahead.
I have a pin up of her in my bedroom, actually.
Oh, okay.
Zing.
Zing, Steve.
As a kid, I really liked the Animaniacs. I thought the Animaniacs
Okay.
were great.
Okay, I could see that.
But I feel like the Animaniacs are also the reason why like a lot of younger people have ADHD. It's just so much going on so fast.
Yeah.
As an adult, I really enjoy Spy versus Spy. It's definitely my favorite cartoon of all time.
Okay.
Spy versus Spy, because I don't know, I believe in,
Is there a
Yeah.
character specifically?
well, they're either the black spy or the white spy.
Yeah, I mean, which of the two you go with? Okay.
Whoever wins that specific cartoon, I'm a fan of. There's a whole balance thing involved, and
Yin and yang kind of thing.
yeah,
huh?
totally.
Uh-huh.
And I really like the idea of there not being necessarily a favorite. They're the same. They're essentially the same, and I think that's a really cool
All right.
concept. Also, the violence is great. Speaking of violence, can I throw Itchy and Scratchy into the mix?
Oh, yeah, who
that's
could forget
so
those
meta.
guys? That's so meta.
Holy
Wow, Itchy and
shoot.
Scratchy, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, way to pull that one out of left field. I
They-
like that. That's
Yeah,
good
a
stuff.
good one.
All right,
That's a good one.
that's legit. That's
Yeah.
legit. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Pokemon.
Pokemon. Which Pokemon character?
Pokemon.
Man, that's tough.
Absolutely. Pokemon is. I never got into it.
You never got into Pokemon?
No. I
No.
never got into Pokemon. I never got into.
You're not into
SpongeBob,
Ash?
any
You
of that
don't know anything
stuff.
about Ash or the professor or anything?
No, I'm too counterculture to like that stuff.
got a regular-
You're still hung up on, what's her name?
Jessica Rabbit.
That's
baby.
it, Jessica
Bread and
Rabbit.
butter, dude. Who framed Roger Rabbit? I don't know. I don't care. I just want to get on a date with Jessica.
And I tell you what, we'll give you one more little piece of inspiration, get you the rest of the week, known as Horoscope Corner.
Love, fortune, status. Let us do your astrological chart. Horoscope Corner on World Improv Network.
All right, okay. Gonna be a wet month coming up. Gonna be a whole lot of snow and rain and slippery surfaces. One of those slippery surfaces is gonna be your love life. You're gonna get real hot and real heavy with a whole lot of random strangers you've never met before this month. And oh yeah, it's not gonna end well. But if you do want things to end well, tune into the Win Radio World Improv Network. You know, you can do it pretty much anywhere. Facebook at the World Improv Network, Twitter at World Improv Net, YouTube at World Improv Network also, iTunes, Google Play Podcast at World Improv Network also. You know, there's a lot of them. You could just Google World Improv. I don't know. There's probably a ton of options out there, but have a good slippery month. All right, see you later.
Thanks for listening to Win on Mile High Sports Radio. Don't forget to be a winner and interact with the cast by sending your suggestions or questions for each show segment throughout the week by hitting them up on Facebook at World Improv Network, on Twitter at World Improv Net, or by calling into the Mile High Sports Radio studio line on Sundays before or during the show. See you next week.